are going to be covering the role, responsibilities, resources, rewards, and recognition of being a club president. We're going to have some sections timed, and I'll explain more about that when we get into that session. All right. I want to give special thanks to our helpers here, our behind the scenes helpers who are a little bit more prominent today. We've got our Zoom hosts here. We have our Zoom helpers, Tara Logan and Tracy Tuma. Thank you for your help. And Inez, you are our newly appointed host, it sounds like, so thank you. And our timer, Andrea Wells. So thank you all for your help making this flow as smoothly as it can in this brave new world of Zoom meetings. You all received a handout, and on that handout, you'll see that there are 5 topics. Those 5 topics are what we're going to be covering today. Here's what we're going to do. I am not going to be lecturing at you. You're going to be providing a lot of the content for this training. What we're going to be doing is, in a few moments, you're going to be whisked away to breakout rooms. Everybody should have that link to the handout that had the five topics. And these are topics that are, I think, and Toastmasters International thinks are extremely important for club presidents to be aware of and to be, you need to know these things. This is going to be a real nuts and bolts training. We're not talking theory here today. We're talking what you need to do to be effective as a club president. The first topic that group number 1 is going to explore is the Toastmasters core values, the Toastmasters mission, the club mission, and the Toastmasters tagline. So that group is going to go off into a breakout room and discuss among themselves that. Oh, and in your breakout rooms, each breakout room needs to appoint a spokesperson for that group. That person is going to then report back when we reconvene in this room. Each of the 5 spokespeople will present in, what did I set this up for, 1 to 2 minutes, the highlights of what you found in your group discussion. So first group is going to be looking at core values, mission, club mission, and tagline. The second group is going to be exploring president duties within the club. So what does the president have to do at the club meeting and in terms of his or her relationship with the club members? The third group is looking at president duties outside the club, and by that we're thinking about what does the president need to do at the district level and at the international level? Did you know that you as the president will have something to do with the district level and the international level? The fourth group will be looking at resources that are in print, and that could be online, that can be printed materials. You're going to be looking to identify where can I go as a club president if I want to learn more about something in my role. The fifth group is going to be identifying people resources. I have a question as the club president. Who should I contact if I want to know how to do something in the club? Who are the people resources? You don't have to come up with this out of your own head. It's perfectly okay for you to go to Toastmasters.org, to use Google, to ask somebody else in your breakout room who may be more experienced than you are. You can use whatever resources that are at your disposal to come up with answers for these sections. You will have 10 minutes in these breakout rooms to come up with what you think are the most important features in each of these sections. Focus on your section. If you're done very quickly in your section, that's great. Start to look at the other questions and see what you can come up with for those other questions. At the end of those 10 minutes, you will be told to come back to this room, and then we'll start our reporting. So in the reporting, each of your spokespeople will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about the highlights. Then what we'll do is we're going to open it up for general comments, and that's going to be pretty brief too, 2 to 3 minutes. We can come back to questions at the end. If you have a question that doesn't get answered, put it in the chat. Also, you'll see on your handout that my email address is at the top. If you have a question after the session is over, or if a question doesn't get answered, or you want to talk to me about something, feel free to email me. I'm here to help. I'm very happy to help. we'll make it happen. Okay, I think everybody's back. So let's get started here. Who is the spokesperson for group number 1? Would you please unmute yourself and tell us your name? Danae. Okay, Danae, please unmute yourself.
Sorry. Hello, everybody. My name is Danae.
Sorry, Danae, I apologize for interrupting you. Let me just clarify. We are going to give each spokesperson 1 to 2 minutes, like a table topic. So you'll either want to go into gallery view so you can see the timer background, and then keep an eye on that because it's going to go green, yellow, red. And just like a table topic, please wrap it up when you see it go red.
Yeah.
You can pin the timer. All right? Very good. And as soon as you start talking, our timer, Andrea, will start to time you. Thank you.
Okay. So we find out that the Toastmaster core value, the Toastmaster International have 4 core value is integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And the Toastmaster mission is that we empower individuals to become more effective communicator and leader. The Toastmaster Club mission is that we empower a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The tagline for the International Toastmaster is that where leaders are made. I got it. That's all we have today. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Danae. Now we have a little bit of extra time, but that's okay. We're going to now have 2 to 3 minutes for our group to provide any sort of comment, any feedback. And I also want you, when you provide this next part of the feedback on this point, to talk about why it's important for the president to be aware of the things that Danae just related to us. Why should the president know? So who in our larger audience here would like to talk? Just go ahead and unmute yourself or show your hand or something so we can hear from you. And we'll have 2 to 3 minutes for this with different people. So your comment, brief, please. Who would like to comment? Why should we as club presidents care about the core values, the mission, the club mission, and the tagline? Is that Tanya? Yes, Tanya, go ahead.
Excellent. So as I was just telling the previous group, we are newly chartered clubs, very new. So this is all very new. And I would say, especially as a new president, as I'm getting questions from people throughout the organization that want to understand who Toastmasters, who is this organization? What do they do? What's the importance of belonging in the organization besides you just give speeches? Because that's what people tend to think and what they tend to know. So knowing the core values, the mission, even the club mission, the tagline, are good talking points and things that you can also utilize from a recruitment standpoint. But more important, I think, is for education of everyone to understand who Toastmasters International is.
All right, thank you, Tanya. This, by the way, is the American Sign Language sign for applause, I've been told. Anyone else?
I would add that it also, as the role of president, which we just heard from our keynote, is to keep our other leadership team, the whole leadership team, focused on moving the club forward. Knowing what our mission is kind of like our vision. How do we move forward? How do we stay focused on that mission? And if somebody gets off track onto something that is good but isn't necessarily beneficial to the whole mission, then we can direct it back toward, well, the mission is we want people to be confident in their speaking, so we need to make sure we keep our evaluations positive and encouraging or whatever. You know, knowing the mission keeps us focused as leaders, as presidents, to keep the whole club focused in the right direction.
Thank you, Elaine. How many of your clubs, I'm sharing my screen right now, How many of your clubs use a Toastmasters branded agenda? If you don't, I would encourage you to use a Toastmasters branded agenda. I want to call your attention to this down here on the lower left. If you can see my screen, the club mission is there. Quite a few clubs read the club mission at the beginning of their club meeting. That might be something you want to think about doing, because it brings us back. It reminds us, like Elaine said, what we're supposed to be focused on. Okay, and you can download this agenda template for free from toastmasters.org. You can adjust it. This is a very long meeting. You can shorten it so it's appropriate for your club. Okay, very good. Well, how about one more comment? Anybody have another comment on this first topic?
What was that? So I love the feedback. There was empowerment, education, and the mission and educating. I mean, those things are just great to constantly communicate, be focused on, and understand that, you know, while also maintaining our brand, just to carry that with a great spirit. But I'd also like to add, you know, just I really learned a lot from my current president on being laid back and relaxed and open and perceptive to all the ideas that are brought forward, and sharing that with the club enthusiastically. I'll give you a perfect example. One of our members wanted to incorporate more accountability on gestures, so he created a role for fidget master, and I thought that was superb. And then I wanted to do the snack master thing, so that was new to our club. I know that that's a real role on the Toastmaster site, but it's just fun being open and perceptive to creating new roles with the members. I don't know how that would fit in with empowerment, education, and mission. Maybe it's something that goes back to Matt's speech and connecting with the team and being real with them.
Well, thank you, Kimberly, for those insights.
Thank you.
It sounds like this group had a productive discussion. Let's hear from group number 2 to tell us what the president needs to do within the club. And we'll have 1 to 2 minutes for your group spokesperson to share with us your findings. Who's that person?
This is Manar Dandapani.
Okay, Manar.
Hi. Good afternoon, Toastmasters. We had Emily, Jake, Janish, Karen, Kimberly, Mark, Eugene, and I, Manar, in this group. We did a round robin type of thought sharing and some discussions around that. So president duties within the club. The president develops some vision for the club. He or she presides over the club meetings, provides guidance to the club to make sure everything is in accordance, runs the officers' meetings, makes sure to understand all the officer roles so that he or she can evaluate, recognize, and guide the officers. The president represents the club in the upper level Toastmasters functions, and the other way, the president reports district and international happenings to the club members. The president starts the meeting with stating the mission and welcoming the guests. The president strives to make the club a distinguished club by motivating members to get their speeches, projects done, and keep moving. The president also serves as a pathways base camp manager along with the VP Ed and the secretary. The president is responsible to hold the elections at the end of the term. The president is cognizant of the club brand and also represents it to the best of his or her abilities. And a couple of things that came up, Vicky, we would like to have your input on this, is the president cannot take action without input or vote from the club. And does the president have the kind of like the right to break the tie in voting or like a conflict situation? That's all we had. So Vicky.
That was a really comprehensive summary of your findings, Manar. Thank you. All right. So Manar, thank you for that report. You mentioned, I want to go back to a couple things you mentioned. You mentioned officer meetings. So yes, officer meetings. As the president of the club, it is your duty to organize, to plan, and to chair the club officer meetings. The club officer group, that group of 7 current club officers, plus the immediate past president of the club, they comprise the club executive committee, is what that group is called, the Club Executive Committee. That's the official name for that group of officers. And we recommend that you meet as club officers outside of the club meeting, maybe right after or before or at a separate time. You can meet virtually. You can meet in, well, once we're allowed to meet in person, you can meet in person. And you discuss then matters relevant to the club. So you've got 7 club officers and each one has duties, right? Can you think about what you might have, what you would want to discuss in the club officer meeting, in that club executive committee meeting? What would you want to hear about? Anybody?
Yes, a success plan.
The club success plan. Very good. This is a perfect opportunity. You know what? Actually, I'm going to share that screen a little bit later when we talk about materials. So I'm not going to jump there. Yes, the club success plan. Excellent, Kimberly. What else?
Progress all the members are making towards their goals.
Okay, and which club officer is responsible for helping members to reach their education goals?
You said the answer. VP.
VP of Education.
The VP Education, right? The Vice President Education is the one who's got the primary responsibility for helping members figure out what their goals are and how to reach them, and then making sure they get on the schedule to present their projects, right? So at your club executive committee meeting, you'd want to hear a report from the VPE, for example. What else, what other kinds of reports might you as the president want to hear at that club executive committee meeting?
Vicky, William Tarter has his hand raised.
Oh, excuse me, William Tarter, waiting patiently, yes.
Oh, that's all right. Thank you, Vicky. Just a quick feedback for people who are in those meetings. We use them as a way to brainstorm different ideas or suggestions that perhaps we could discuss in that particular meeting that we would not necessarily do in our general body meeting.
Great, very good. Time to brainstorm. All right, and what might you be brainstorming? What kind of topics?
Perhaps a membership event.
Membership, maybe a membership drive. And which club officer would be tasked with figuring out or help us, at least trying to organize, maybe with help of other people, a membership drive?
VP
That would be,
membership.
excuse me,
VP is membership.
Renee Johnson, raise her hand.
All right, who raised?
Renee Johnson.
Danae, go ahead. Thank you, Inez, for helping keep me focused here.
I said it's public relation helping with membership drive.
Excellent. All right. So there's lots of information out there about how to run an executive committee meeting, who needs to do what, and we're going to get to that when we talk about resources. Let's save that question about tie breaking and does the club, what I heard, I think maybe I interpreted this wrong, but can the club president unilaterally make certain decisions, or do members have to vote on that? Let's save that because I want to hear from each group, and then if we have time, we can come back to that. I love those topics.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Manar, and thank you everybody for participating in that. Let's go on to duties outside the club. And who was the spokesperson for that group?
That would be me.
Nathan. All right, let's hear from Nathan.
Yeah, so hello everyone, my name is Nathan Jaros, president of the Hall of Fame Club incoming. And our question in group 3 was president duties outside of the club, meaning the district and international levels. And the main and most direct answer, our responsibility is to make sure that we get our vote in for the district officers as well as the international officers. We are also aware that we don't actually have to be present in order to make that vote. We can vote by proxy, which if we're not available for the district conference, we can sign a form and send it into our area director and district leadership to have someone else vote on our behalf to make sure that our vote still counts. Also, in addition, there are various things going on in the district, from area contests, division contests, district contests, that we can be a part of as volunteers, as well as encourage our club members to participate in also. And at the end of each year, we have to make sure that our new officer list, so when our term is over, that the new officer list is being submitted before June 30th of each year. Not a problem for us early, but problem for us at the end of our term. And there's a really direct response there, as well as if there's any opportunity to involve the community to to be the face of Toastmasters in our local areas, just to be a good presence and positive example for Toastmasters. Vicky.
Nathan, that's wonderful. Very good. Let's take a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes here. What do the others think about the duties outside the club? Or did you have questions about anything that Nathan reported? How about, what did Nathan say about voting outside the club? He mentioned voting at the district council meeting. As the president and the club's vice president education are district council members. So remember that. You as the president have a role beyond the club as a district council member. You get to carry your club at the district council meeting. Was there a comment that somebody wanted to chime in at? All right, and
thank you so much. Hey, Vicky, this is Will. If I could just ask Nathan to repeat one thing he said we had to do before June 30th. I'm sorry that I missed that. If I could ask him to repeat that, that'd be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
So essentially at the end of every year, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the president, but normally the president is the one who does it. It's just any officer. Whoever are the newly elected officers, they have to submit that on Toastmasters International website, the new officers for the incoming year. So whoever your current officers are now, they're tasked with that job to get that in before June 30th of this year to make sure that you get that small check mark for your distinguished club goal, as well as updating the new officers. And so just being aware of that as club president for 2021, and as this year progresses, that we have to submit that at the end of our term as well.
That's correct. Thank you very much, Will, for bringing that up. So your current club officers have to, one of them has to go into Club Central, log in, and input the names of the elected club officers for 2020, 2021. Thank you very much, Will, for bringing that up, and Nathan for clarifying. Good. I do want to clarify something really quickly about proxies. So for our virtual district council meetings, there are no proxies. Next spring, we hope we'll be back to normal and we'll have an in-person district council meeting. I urge you and your vice president education to come to that meeting in person. But if you can't be at the one in person, that one allows a proxy if it is meeting in person. In the fall, you will have a vote. You're going to vote on behalf of your club at the fall district council meeting, which must be virtual. Regardless of COVID, it must be virtual. That's around the world. You carry a vote for your club. Keep that in mind. Also, there is a very important international election, and you will have the opportunity this year to assign a proxy or to vote. I don't know what exactly they're doing because it's all virtual this year because of COVID, but keep that in mind that your club gets to vote in international level elections. Oh, we're out of time. We could talk for hours about this. At least I could. So thank you, group number 3, for that. That was a good report and good discussion. Let's move on quickly to resources in print. Who is the spokesperson for that group?
I am. Hello, Vicky.
Right. And you go by, you're Shari?
I'm Sherry, yes.
Hello, Sherry. Okay. Let's hear from your group, please.
All right, so group number 4 included myself, Amy, Tara, Tracy, Priyanka, Dom, and there was one more person that I just didn't get their name down. I'm so sorry. But for group 4, we have a few items that we found quickly. One of which we have the online PDF Club Leadership Handbook. Beginning on page 22, it talks about the president's roles. The next item that we found was the club officer training manual. And this training manual had like step-by-step procedures on the role of the president. Fantastic resource. We also noted that on the Toastmasters International website, the club officer training manual, and it had an online tutorial about being president. So you could actually click and look at the video. And then on District 10's website, we just typed in roles and responsibilities. A whole page came up for every role and responsibilities based on these club officer training manuals, but it was more succinct and concise. Also, your club websites will have the president role outlined. A lot of them, we didn't have time to go through and check if every club website had those. There was one additional resource, was Robert's Rules of Order, that accompanies this club leadership handbook. Recommends that we have at your fingertips Robert's Rules of Order. So I purchased a quick study guide. So that's what we have.
I hope you can hear me. All right. Thank you very much, Terry. Very good information. And I'll just go quickly here through some of the resources you mentioned. Yes, the Club Leadership Handbook. I strongly recommend that each of you read this and have your club officers, your incoming club officers, read it. Focus on your section, of course, but as club president, you need that oversight. It's a very easy read. It's a free download. And let's see, can you see the Distinguished Club Program and Club Success Plan Handbook? Not? If you can, yes. Okay, great. Another one that you really want to take a look at here and study. Somebody in an earlier summary mentioned the Club Success Plan. When you're in your executive committee meeting, discuss the progress toward the Club Success Plan. Find this manual, and Tracy, can you add these links to the chat, please, so people can see where they are? They're free downloads. So I want to show you, here's the first page of the Club.
Yep, I got it.
Very good. Tracy's going to put these very important links for print materials in the chat. And this is another manual. Now, Sherry, I'm not sure if I heard you say this one. It sounded like you mentioned a good Robert's Rules Handbook, and that's great. This one costs a little bit of money. Tara, do you know if the district has copies of this for sale, this Chairman Handbook? This tells you how to run a meeting using parliamentary procedure. Tara, I don't know if you can hear me, but.
Yes, I do. I have it placed on our order. It would be placed, unfortunately, be after this event, but I will have copies of this available to purchase through the District 10 bookstore.
Thank you very much. Okay, number one resource, print resource, in my opinion, for you, Club Leadership Handbook. Let's hear from the others in the group. Any comments or other suggestions for print resources to help you be a more effective president? Or any comments? Things that you found
I actually have a question.
Yes.
I just have a question. Is it preferred that we purchase these items through our district versus ordering them off of the website? I was trying to understand how that works.
So my understanding is that these manuals, for example, Club Leadership Handbook, this is for sure free. This is a free download. You don't need to log in. And so you don't purchase this. I don't even know that they're printing this anymore. A lot of these are no longer available in print. This Club Leadership Handbook is,
I have that. It was more to the last one she spoke about that had the chairman.
Oh, the chairman. Now, this I believe is only available in print. I don't believe this is available yet as a digital download. So yeah, would the district, well, so the district buys inventory for the bookstore. Your club would need to spend the $4, and I think they tack on, I don't know, a few cents to cover the shipping charges. But Tara is your number. Tara, are you, I'm embarrassed to say this, are you the bookstore manager? You're still the bookstore manager, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay, wonderful, good, I thought so. So Tara is your go-to person for bookstore questions for this kind of print material. Okay, but this is not, I don't believe that this is available in print anymore, but you can download it for free. Okay, those are great questions. Let's see, oh, we're almost out of time here. We're almost out of time for a whole session. How about any other questions or comments about print resources? Then let's move on to our final group, people that you can reach out to if you have questions. You heard Matt earlier today. He maybe gave you some tips. Let's hear from group number 5. Who is the spokesperson?
Hey, Vicky, this is Will Tarter representing Group 5. Distinguished Toastmaster Nann, fellow presidents. We were group number 5. We were comprised of Verlinda from the Stark State Toastmasters, Sue from Talk of the Town Toastmasters in Parma, and Susan from Akron 151, first club in Ohio. I'm Will Tarter from Cleveland Club 351. We spoke about several things of resources that would be helpful, people who would serve as tremendous resources for us as our new presidents. We first suggested calling presidents of other clubs and getting their thoughts and their insight. We also made the recommendation of looking back at previous presidents who served in the club roles. We also encouraged people to talk with, oh my goodness, am I read already? All right. We also suggested talking to people who are in sales. How do we make a good pitch to attract new members? And also to get advice from district leadership on what thoughts they have to be successful presidents. And finally, what experiences we can bring from our other organizations that could help us in our new leadership role. Distinguished Toastmaster Nann.
Thank you, Will. Very good. Yeah, that red wasn't specifically for you, it's for all of us. We have 1 minute to go here.
I was going to say, I competed in districts and table topics, and I was trying to get it right.
No. It's for our session, and we are just about out of time. Thank you for that report. We do have another minute. Would anybody like to add to that any other resources? If you have questions, don't keep them don't keep them to yourself. Ask. There are lots of people out there that would be very, very happy to help you out. Anybody want to add to anything?
Distinguished Toastmaster Nann. This is Will. Just one more question about the purchase of materials. Is it cheaper to purchase in terms of shipping costs from District 10 versus shipping costs from Toastmasters International?
In my experience, Will, it is always cheaper to buy through the district because the district can pass along savings to you. And I've discovered if I buy a $4 handbook, the shipping is often way more expensive than the actual item. So if Tara has it in inventory, I'm sure she'd work out a way to get it to you. And last year we started adding, I don't know, $1/4 or something per purchase, something like that to cover the district's cost to ship, but it's not anywhere near what you would pay. Typically, it's not what you would pay if you went through the website. Not everything is available. These were all wonderful comments, wonderful questions. Thank you so much. We didn't get to answer some of the questions, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can get your email addresses, and I will follow up with email. If you have any other questions, you want clarity, just go ahead and email me and we will find the answers. I wish you all the best as you begin this next step in your Toastmasters leadership journey, and have a very productive and successful training today.